Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam review class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नित्यनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam review class. We are discussing from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we saw a beautiful conversation which happened between Nimi Maharaj and Navyogendras. So after uh, Vasudev, he heard all the instructions from Navyogendras and the great sages they left. Then we heard that Krishna, he told all the Yadus that now I think, and after that, Uddhava, he understood that it seems Krishna is about to wind up his pastimes. So he goes and asks, uh, Krishna, that please take me also with you. It seems that you are about to wind up your pastimes. I cannot stay apart from you. Please take me also, because Toyopabhuk Sraggandha Vasa Lankar Charchitaha Uchchishta Bhojano Dashastav Mayam Jayemihi. So Uddhava was a personality. He was uh, wearing all the remnants of Krishna, all the paraphernalia which was used by Krishna. After Krishna uses it, it would be given to Uddhava. So therefore he requested that please take me also. So now that was the end of the 6th chapter. So today we'll be discussing the 7th chapter, which is entitled as Lord Krishna instructs Uddhava. So from this chapter onwards, the beautiful discussion of Uddhava Gita starts. From 7th to 29 chapters, the 22 chapters of 11th canto, that is the description of Uddhava Gita. That knowledge which was spoken by Krishna to Uddhava. And we have heard earlier also that Krishna, when he spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, it was just a preliminary knowledge, because it was a time of emergency. Krishna could not explain in detail various aspects of devotional service. So therefore, to fulfill his instructions, to complete his instructions, Krishna, he gave the complete knowledge of devotional service to Uddhava in the form of this Uddhava Gita. So now after Uddhava, he revealed his heart. Now Krishna, he describes that, oh Uddhava, you have actually revealed my plan of departure. And then he says, actually, I am going to very soon depart, because I came along with Lord Brahma on his request, and now my mission is complete. What was the mission? The mission was to reestablish the principles of religion, to annihilate the miscreants, to show mercy to all the living entities in the form of various pastimes, and to enlighten and enliven the devotees of the Lord. All these mission was fulfilled by Krishna. So therefore now Krishna is telling Uddhava, oh Uddhava, my mission is complete. And by the curse of Brahmanas, the Yadu dynasty will also perish by fighting amongst them. And therefore he says, from seventh day from today, this Dwarka city will be inundated by the ocean. So ocean will inundate this Dwarka city. So, Jiva Goswami, he describes that actually Yadu dynasty, it can never be destroyed, because all the inhabitants of Dwarka, they are the Nitya Siddha devotees. They can never be destroyed. But they are just removed from the vision of the material world. And similarly, Dwarka can never be destroyed. Ocean can never inundate Dwarka. It just becomes unmanifested. That is the aprakat leela. So therefore, we have heard also that whenever Krishna comes in this material world, he manifests all his pastimes, and those pastimes are all eternal pastimes which are still there manifesting. It requires just the vision to behold those pastimes. So therefore, Lord revealed his own form, pastimes, and all the paraphernalia, entourage for some time, and then now he is planning to unmanifest all these from the vision of the material world. So then Lord says, I will also abandon the earth in due course of time, in near future, and after I abandon this earth will be overwhelmed by Kali Yuga. People will lose all the symptoms of piety. That's what is described in the first canto. Krishne Sodhamopagate Dharma Jnanadi Saha Kalau Nashta Drishamesha Purana Arka Adhunoditaha. So when Krishna departed from this material world, Dharma and Jnana also went with him. So therefore, to restore Dharma and Jnana, Bhagavatam was manifested in this material world. So actually Lord Krishna, he also wanted to bring Uddhava back to the spiritual world, but he had a plan for Uddhava. After a brief delay, of course, Uddhava is a Nitya Siddha associate. He will go back to the spiritual world, but Krishna had a plan for Uddhava. He thought, Uddhava has such wonderful, extraordinary spiritual qualities. And therefore, Lord, he wanted to engage him in spreading and in sharing this message, which Krishna is about to give to Uddhava. So Krishna was thinking, I want Uddhava to go and spread this message to those people who are not yet advanced in devotional service. And that was the mission which was given to Uddhava. So therefore, Lord assured Uddhava that actually you will not be bereft of my association. You will always be there. And Lord empowered him to carry out these instructions. That's how Lord is so much concerned about the deliverance of the fallen conditioned souls. Maharaura haite korila tomar uddhar kripar samudra Krishna gambhir apar. So kripar samudra Krishna gambhir apar. Krishna is an ocean of mercy, and he is very grave. He is very gravely thinking how the conditioned souls of Kali Yuga will be delivered. That is the only thought of Krishna always. And that's why he manifested all these pastimes. That's why he creates all this material universe, to fulfill the desires of the living entities and ultimately to rectify their desires. That was one of the questions asked by the sages of Naimisharanya. Why Lord incarnates in this world? And the answer was given by Suta Goswami, to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls. So therefore, although Lord completed all his pastimes, all the mission was over, but still, he was thinking about those people who had not taken to the process of devotional service. So therefore, now after describing this, Krishna is telling to Uddhava, "Oh Uddhava, after I leave from this world, please do not remain on earth. Because after I abandon this earth, this uh, Bhumandala will be full of all the sinful people. All the people will be addicted to so many sinful activities. So therefore, actually, the purport describes that by this, Lord is advising people, all the living entities, you should not live in this material world which is full of sinful activities. Just finish your business and come back to me. And therefore, this Kali Yuga is so very advantageous. We have heard in detail about the symptoms of Kali Yuga and how it is very much aspired by even great sages. Kalim sabhajayantarya gunagyasar bhagina sarvaswartho vilabhyate yatra sankirtanena eva sarvaswartho vilabhyate. All the great sages, they worship Kali Yuga because the greatest benefit can be achieved just by chanting the names of the Lord, Hare Krishna mantra. So therefore, Lord is telling to Uddhava, "Oh Uddhava, please maintain equal vision. Equal vision, give up all the attachments, and therefore your mind will always be absorbed in me. Do not fear that you will be entangled in the material world, materialistic activities after I depart. No. If you maintain equal vision, then you will not be affected." So therefore, a very beautiful purport is written by Chakravarti Thakur. He says, Lord is thinking that, we are discussing from the seventh chapter, now sixth verse. So Lord is thinking that, I have fulfilled the desires of my devotees on earth. Those devotees who desired to see me, I have fulfilled their desires. Who are they? The great kings, the Pandavas, and Queen Rukmini, and all the other princesses, all the devotees of Indraprasth, all the devotees of Mithila, I have given darshan. And then he was thinking, I have killed all the demoniac people also, headed by Banasur and all the other. And then I have shown myself to the residents of lower planets also, Bali Maharaj, Yamraj, on the pretext of saving the sons of Sandipani Muni. Actually, Krishna went to meet Yamraj and give his darshan to Yamraj. On the way, he met Bali Maharaj also. And then he's thinking, I have shown myself to Aditi also, Kashyapa also. When Krishna, he went to Swarga to get that Parijata tree, he gave darshan to all the inhabitants of heaven also. And then he was thinking that actually I gave my darshan to Mahavishnu also. When the sons of Brahmana, they were getting, kidnapped. Actually, they were dying and they were getting kidnapped by Mahavishnu. Krishna himself went to give darshan to Mahavishnu. Vismapanam swasya cha saubagarde param padam bhushana bhushanangam. So that is the beauty of Krishna. It attracts even the incarnations. But he was thinking that I have not fulfilled the desire of the sages of Badrikashram. They have not got my association. They have not got my darshan. And therefore, now the limit of my pastimes limit of my existence on this material world is over. 125 years are gone. So therefore, I cannot give my darshan to all these sages of Badrikashram. So therefore, what I should do? I should send Uddhava. Uddhava is not different from me. He is equal to me and he is such a great enlightened soul. What I'll do? I'll give him Bhakti Yoga and I'll give him Gyan and Vairagya also. Because the sages of Badrikashram, they are so very eager to get my association. I will send Uddhava and then their desires will be satisfied. And he was thinking that Uddhava, actually he already has Gyan and Vairagya arising from Prema. But still, I will produce in him a desire to cultivate Gyan and Vairagya all the more. because that is what is attractive for the sages there. And then he's thinking, actually, Uddhava is so very intimately attached to me. If I go leaving him, he will die in separation. So therefore, what I'll do, I will not allow him to die in separation from me. I will preserve his life by my strong Ichha Shakti. I will preserve my life. I will preserve his life. And then I'll send him to that place. What I'll do? I'll be always there along with Uddhava in the unmanifested form. That's how Uddhava will not feel separation from me. So Prabhupada writes a wonderful purport there. He says, the devotees engaged in Krishna consciousness movement, just like what is the mission Krishna is giving to Uddhava? You go and you spread this message of Krishna consciousness you give this message to the sages. So, the purport explains that devotees in Krishna consciousness movement, many times they may be engaged in so many services, and many times devotees they complain that I am doing so many services, but I am not thinking about Krishna while doing my services. So many services are there. I am doing book distribution, I am doing management, I am doing cooking, and I am not related directly to Krishna. It seems that I am not thinking about Krishna directly. So very hope-giving line is written there. By such loving service, even though the residents, the devotees, if they are not thinking about Krishna directly, they will go back to Godhead. Because by being pleased by their service, Lord himself will arouse humble, loving devotion in the heart of these devotees. This is the beauty of Bhakti Yoga. So that is an amazing hope-giving thing it is written. So therefore, Krishna is telling Uddhava, "O Uddhava, please maintain this equal vision." What is this equal vision Uddhava may be thinking? So Krishna is telling that what is the basis of this equal vision? The basis is you see all the material dualities with uh, equipoised heart. Because due to Maya, one imagines this world to be a place of enjoyment. Because of the bodily conception of life, one thinks, I belong to this world. And all this is perceived by the mind. So whatever good and evil we see in this world, it is just the creation of the illusory energy. Just like the objects of dream are the illusory creation. Similarly, what is good, what is bad? Because of this bodily conception, living entity they thinks, oh, the things which are related to this body, they are good. And the things which are not so much giving pleasure to my body, they are bad. So the basis of this conception is the body. So that's why it is all illusory energy. It is all illusion. Actually, we are not this body, we are soul. So therefore, because people who are ignorant, they see through various illusory conceptions. They see difference in karma, akarma, and vikarma. So then after describing this, Krishna is telling, what is the vision which is recommended for Uddhava? Tasmad yuktendriya gramo yukta chitta idam jagat atmanikshasva vitatam atmanam mayadhishware. He says, O Uddhava, therefore, tasmad, therefore, yukta indriya grama. Bring all your senses under your control. Yukta chitta, bring your mind under your control. Idam jagat. Then what you'll do? You should see the entire world as atmanikshasva vitatam. You should understand that all the living entities, they are put in this material world because they have the desire to enjoy. So this world you should see as the object of enjoyment for all the jivas. Atmanam mayadhishware, and you should see me as the controller of all the jivas. So that is very, very important. So therefore, because everything is given by Krishna, Krishna is the controller. So the purpose of this material world is to satisfy Krishna. Bhoktaram yajnatapsam sarva loka maheshwaram suridam sarva bhutanam. So Krishna is the supreme controller, enjoyer and proprietor of everything in this world. So the purpose of this material world is to give satisfaction to Vishnu. Some said there Hari Toshanam. Hari Toshanam should be the uh, ultimate goal of a devotee. And therefore, what will be the result of such vision? Now, Krishna is saying that if you have such equal vision, you control your mind, you control your senses, understand me to be the supreme, then you will not face any of the obstacles. Jnana Vijnana Sanyukta Atma Bhuta Sharirinam Atmanubhava Tushtatma Nantarair Vihanyase. Na antarair vihanyase. Na antarair means there will be no obstacles in your path of bhakti. If you see things from equal vision, if you try to engage everything in service of Krishna, what can obstacle do for that person? That devotee will never face any obstacles. So therefore, Gyan Vigyan Samyukta, endowed with theoretical and realized knowledge. The conclusion of the Vedas and the realization of that. Atma Bhuta Sharirinam, and being the object of affection for all the living beings, satisfied by the realization of that Atma, you will not be checked by any obstacle. And therefore, such a liberated person never falls in sansar. He never gets entangled in the materialistic activities. That is the assurance, that is the result of such equal vision. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also. Verse after verse in the fourth chapter, he is describing the person who has equal vision. In the fifth chapter, in the sixth chapter, again and again, the Bhagavad Gita describes in the 14th chapter, 13th chapter, so many verses, Krishna is describing what is a vision of a self-realized soul. That person sees everything with a equal vision and tries to engage everything in service of Krishna. And the result is he never gets entangled. Mam chaya avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunana samatyatan brahma bhuyaya kalpati. He attains the supreme abode of Krishna. The material energy cannot touch a person. As we heard in the story of Priyavrat Maharaj also, it is described of Priyavrat Maharaj that although he was engaging in all the kingly affairs, he was not entangled because he was completely devoted to the Lord. So, very interesting thing it is written there that the liberated persons, they act correctly and they never act in a whimsical way. So just because I have become a devotee, I can behave in any way. What does it make? What different it makes? What? There is no difference. No, I can behave in any way I want. No, that is not a devotee. As Prabhupada would say many times, my devotees are perfect ladies and gentlemen. My devotee never acts in a whimsical way, thinking that, oh, now I have transcended all the rules and regulations. He very nicely, just like a small innocent child, he automatically, he follows all the rules and regulations spontaneously. Similarly, if you tell a small child, that you have to do this, and then if he is really happy, he will do it and he will not ask 100 questions. He will do it very nicely. So therefore, devotee who is a liberated personality, he follows all the rules and regulations. He never acts in a evil way. And therefore, such a person is already liberated. So now, beginning from this 13th verse, Uddhava asks questions from Krishna. So now he has understood that Krishna is about to depart, and Krishna started giving some preliminary instructions to Uddhava. So now Uddhava, in the whole this Uddhava Gita, he asks 20 questions to Krishna, and the answer to these 20 questions, they form the whole content of Uddhava Gita. So now, Uddhava, he asks, so Shukdev Goswami says that Lord Krishna, after he started instructing Uddhava in this way, Uddhava, he offered his obeisances and he was so very eager to know about Krishna. Tattva Jigyasu. Tattva Jigyasu means he knew that Krishna is now going to depart and I have to really be very, very eager to get the instructions from him. So therefore, Uddhava is describing now his condition and is glorifying Krishna. He'll glorify Krishna and he'll ask questions. Yogesha yoga vinyasa yogatman yoga sambhava nishreyasaya me prokta tyaga sannyasa lakshana. He says, "O my Lord, you alone award the results of yoga practice. Yogesha, you're the master of the yoga. Yoga vinyasa, you are so kind that by your influence, you know, the yogi perfects the life and becomes a devotee. Yogatman, you are the supreme soul who is realized by the process of Ashtanga Yoga. Nishreyasaya me prokta. And for my supreme benefit, you have explained me the science of devotion by which a sannyasi can attain perfection. So, so Chakravarti Thakur writes that, however, since you appear through Bhakti Yoga, please tell me about the details of Bhakti Yoga. You have told me about, how a person who has renounced this world, he can attain perfection, but I know that you are attained through Bhakti Yoga. So please tell me about Bhakti Yoga, because Tyagoyam dushkaro bhuman kamanam vishayatmabhi Sutaram Tvai Sarvatman Abhaktairiti Me Matihi. He says, "O my Lord, Tyago Ayam Dushkaro Bhuman." To give up this material enjoyment is so very difficult. Dushkara Kamanam Vishayatmabi, because people of this world, they are so much absorbed in sense gratification. Kamanam Vishay Atma, their Atma is sense gratification. Kamatmana Swargapara, Kama Kami, all these words, they describe how a living entity is so very absorbed in sense gratification. Sutaram Tvai Sarvatman Abhaktairiti Me Mati. So therefore, those who are not your devotees, they cannot become free from material attachment. So therefore now, he says, "Oh Krishna, I am a fool. I am completely absorbed in concept of I and mine." That is the natural humility of a devotee. Many times we also say, "Oh, I am fallen, I am no one, I am das, dasanudas." But many times it comes from just theoretical platform. For a pure devotee, he actually means it. And he feels happy. What's the difference between, inferiority complex and humility? Inferiority complex is so very deeply rooted in the conception of false ego that the person, he becomes depressed. That, oh, I cannot do all this. I am so very low. But humility means it is based on accepting the supremacy of Krishna. Oh, Krishna is so great. I am fallen. I am so insignificant. But that is not the main thing. Krishna is supreme. And that's why this devotee who is actually humble, he is always happy, joyful. Although he expresses his fallen condition, but that is the outcome of his devotion. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, "Amito kamera dasa, Gopinath mama nivedana shuno, Vishay durjana, sada kamerata, kichunahi mora guna." All this is the outpouring of the loving devotional heart. So therefore now Uddhava is a Nitya Siddha. He's a most intimate associate of the Lord. What is he saying? He's saying, I am a fool. I am completely absorbed in the bodily conception. And therefore, please instruct me how to accomplish the knowledge, how to actually practice the jnana of spiritual life which you have given me. That is the question which he is asking to Krishna. He says, you are such a perfect teacher, you know, only you can teach me. The same thing, Krishna tells to Arjuna. Arjuna is telling to Krishna. After Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, कार्पण्य दोषोपहत स्वभावा पृच्छामि त्वां धर्म सम्मूढ़ चेता. I surrender unto you. I am your disciple now. Krishna may think, oh, there are so many great sages. Bhishma is there, Drona is there, Vyasdev is there. You can go to anyone and ask your problems. Why are you asking me? I am just your friend. Arjuna says, Nahi prapashyami mamapanudya yashokamuchoshanamindriyanam avapya bhumau asapatnam riddham rajyam suranam apichadipatyam. Now Arjuna is expressing his confidence in Krishna. He's saying, oh Krishna, I do not see anyone else who can dispel my doubt. Uddhava is expressing the same confidence in Krishna. He says, I do not see anyone else who can actually perfectly explain this science of devotion. Because you are the perfect teacher. Such a perfect teacher is not found anywhere in the entire creation. Even heavenly planets, one cannot find a teacher like you. Because one of the most wonderful qualities of you, O my Lord, is you are most merciful. A teacher may be very learned, but if he does not come down to the level of the students, then he cannot actually elevate the student. You are ready to come down to the lowest of the species. That is your supreme mercy. आपने करी आश्वादने शिखाइला भक्त गणे प्रेम चिंता मणि प्रभु धनी नाही जाने स्थान स्थान यारे तारे कोइलो दान Mahaprabhu Data Shiromani. And Mahaprabhu is showing by his personal behavior. He is not thinking, oh, he is qualified, he is not qualified. Yare tare kailadan, everybody he is giving. So therefore, Uddhava is saying, you are most merciful. So therefore, you can only teach me this supreme science of devotion. And then after this, he says, very beautiful verse. Tasmad bhavantam anavadyamananta param sarvagyam ishwaram akantha vikuntha dhishnyam nirvinna dhiyamute vrajanaabhitapto narayanam narasakham sharanam prapadye. So Prabhupada would quote this verse many times. Tasmad bhavantam anavadyam. You are the anavadya. You are most perfect master. Anavadya means in this person there is no discrepancy. Anavadya. You are ananta, you are unlimited. Sarvagya, you are all knowing. Ananta means you are not limited by time and space. You are unlimited. You are not restricted in your mercy. You can award results to all your servants. Oh, I am busy, taking care of this servant. I cannot go to help you. No, he is Ananta. That's why Gajendra is also praying. Madrik prapanna pashupasha vimokshanaya muktaya bhuri karunaya namolayaya. Madrik prapanna pashupash. I have surrendered to you. I am trapped in this animal body. Pashupash, vimokshanaya, mukta. You are mukta. Lord may say, I am mukta, but why should I save you? Bhuri karunaya, because you are most merciful also. Okay, I am mukta, I am most merciful, but I don't feel like it. Gajendra says, no, alayaya, you are never lazy in taking care of your devotees. So that's how Lord is Ananta. He can reward mercy to everybody. He is Sarvagya. He knows all our problems. He has complete knowledge. Ishvara. Ishvara means he is a supreme controller. Therefore, he is capable of giving all protection to everyone. He is the supreme Ishvara. Akuntha Vikuntha Dhishnyam. You see, some people, they have inauspicious abodes. But your abode is Akuntha. Your abode is without any inauspiciousness. Vikuntha Dhishnyam. Akuntha Vikuntha Dhishnyam means Your abode is free from all the disturbances. So therefore you are Narayanam Narsakham. You are the supreme most friend of all the living entities. And who am I? Nirvinnadhi ahamute vijnabhitapto nirvinnadhi. Nirvinnadhi means I am completely exhausted trying to enjoy this material world. Vrijnabhitapta. Vrijnabhitapta means completely discouraged and exhausted. Trying to enjoy, trying to get this material pleasure. I am completely exhausted now. Therefore, O my Lord, now I am surrendering unto you. Narayanam Narasakham Sharanam Prapadye. One more important thing about Lord is a person who is great, he does not feel for insignificant people, right? He does not have time to help insignificant people, but Lord is so very merciful. He is ready to go to the lowest of the species. So that is the mercy of the Lord. So now after Supreme Lord is requested by Uddhava in such a way, now Lord starts replying. He says, humans, they can analyze the situation of this material world and they can raise themselves beyond this gross sense gratification. So actually Supreme Lord is saying, oh Uddhava, you think you are a fool, but you are most intelligent. I do not see anyone intelligent like you among even the devatas. Who was Uddhava? Vrishninam pravaro mantri krishnasya daitas sakha shishyo brihaspate sakshat uddhavo buddhisattama. Uddhava was the best of the ministers in the Vrishni dynasty. Krishnasya daitas sakha, very very dear friend of Krishna. Shishyo brihaspati sakshat, direct disciple of Brihaspati. Uddhava buddhisattama, very very extraordinarily intelligent. So therefore, Krishna is saying, you are calling yourself fool, but I don't think anybody is intelligent like you. And Sridhar Swami now in this verse he says that when Krishna is saying that, oh Uddhava, you become your own guru because you have such intelligence. One should not think that I don't need spiritual master. No, that is not what is described by Krishna here. Somebody says, oh, somebody hears this, oh, I can also become my guru. I don't need anyone. That is not the thing which Krishna is telling to Uddhava. So Sridhar Swami says, even if one has not received the instruction from spiritual master, by his own intelligence, one can understand by direct and indirect analysis the futility of this material world. And Madhvacharya points out, after understanding the futility of the material world, what is a natural conclusion of that understanding? That person will search out for a devotee and he'll surrender to him, take shelter of him, accept him as spiritual master and learn about Supreme Lord. Because without surrendering to spiritual master, nobody can attain Krishna. Guru Krishna kripaye pai bhakti lata bij. So I should not misinterpret this verse thinking that I don't need a spiritual master. Just see, Krishna is himself telling Uddhava, analyze this world and you don't need to go to a spiritual master. No, you can become your own guru. No, that is not what Krishna is saying. Vichakshana. Vichakshana means you are expert. Krishna is telling that you are an expert, you are vichakshana. With that expertise, you have to understand this world is a miserable, temporary place. Dukhalayam and ashashvatam. After that understanding, please go to a spiritual master and surrender. Then Krishna is saying in the 20th verse that an intelligent person, acting as his own guru, can achieve great benefit by perception and logic. By understanding by logic and by perceiving the futility of this world, he actually comes to a very, very nice understanding. So therefore, O Uddhava, in the human form of life, by the one who is expert in Gyan and Bhakti, one can directly see me in all the things of the world. That is the opulence of the Supreme. One can see Krishna in the world. That's what Krishna is telling to Uddhava. So therefore the human form is so very significant. Purushatve, the word used is Purushatve. Purushatva means this human form is so very significant, and if one does not utilize this opportunity, then it is such an unfortunate situation. So therefore Lord says, in this world there are many kinds of created beings, with some are with one legs, other with two, three, four, but I consider the human form as very, very dear to me. There are 84 lakh species of life. Krishna is saying out of those 84, humans are very, very dear to me. And in Bhagavad Gita, we have heard that Krishna is saying four types of people come to me: Arto, Artarthi, Jigyasu, and Jnani. Krishna says they all are very, very magnificent, munificent, Udar, but Jnani tu Atmeva me mataha. So Krishna gives a hierarchy of messages, gradation. Of all the species, humans are very dear to me. Of all the humans, one who inquires about me is dear to me. And of all those who inquire, the devotee is supreme. So he says that humans are very, very dear to me. Can they see you by searching for you through inference? Since you are the stimulator of intelligence, Uddhava may think like that. Krishna says, I can't be attained by such vision, but I can be perceived by such vision. To attain me, only bhakti is required. You can perceive Krishna in the world, but you cannot attain Krishna by such vision. To attain Krishna, only bhakti is required. Bhaktya mam abhijanati, because Krishna says in the 23rd verse, I can never be captured by sense perception. Because I am transcendental, how can the material senses capture me? But human beings, they may use their very wonderful intelligence to directly or indirectly perceive Krishna. That is what we teach in our beginning sessions, Journey of Self-Discovery course. How one can see Krishna in the material world, logically, how one can understand that God exists. That's how we can experience Krishna. But to attain Krishna, ultimately, we give only ABCD, association, book reading, chanting, and prasad, diet and deity worship. So therefore Lord is himself saying, so whatever we are discussing, whatever we hear, whatever we see in our courses, it has a basis, it has a foundation, because Lord is himself saying, you can see me in the material world through your logic, but you can't attain me. To attain me only requires bhakti. Atah Shri Krishna namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai sevon mukhe jihvado swayameva spratyadaha. One cannot attain Krishna by material senses. Only by service one can attain Krishna. So therefore, after describing this, now Krishna starts a beautiful narration. He says, I will cite a narration which is cited by the great sages regarding a conversation which happened between King Yadu and a Avadhut Brahmana. Atrapi mam itihasam puratanam avadhutasya samvadam yador amita tejasah. That conversation which happened between Yadu Maharaj, who was very, very powerful, and Avadhut Brahmana. So we have heard the famous story of the Avadhut Brahmana who has 24 gurus. So now from 25th verse onwards, Krishna starts the description, the narration of the reflections of a Avadhut Brahmana. So once Yadu Maharaj, he was roaming in the forest, he saw a Avadhut Brahmana. So this Avadhut Brahmana, he was appearing young, handsome, learned, and he was wandering freely. And just by looking at him, Yadu Maharaj could find that, could understand that he is very, very learned personality. Because Yadu was himself learned, he could understand, oh, this person is very learned. So Yadu, Maharaj Yadu, he inquired from Avadhut Brahmana. He said, oh Brahmana, where have you attained this great knowledge from? You know, and I am seeing that such intelligence you have that you are wandering like a innocent child, and you are not engaging in any work. And then he says, generally people in the world, they engage in dharma, artha, kama, and they reflect on the super soul also. And by all these processes, they attain long life, they attain wealth, fame, and ultimately they attain moksha. So, and I can see that now. Next verse is very, very interesting. Avadhuta Yadu Maharaj is saying, 28th verse. He says, I can see that you are capable, learned, expert, handsome, and most eloquent. Although you are capable of doing everything, you are not doing anything. So very interesting. The qualities of Avadhut Brahmana: expert, learned, capable, handsome, and most eloquent. So although you can do everything, but you are not doing anything, nor do you have a desire to do it. On the contrary, you are appearing like a madman, a person who is haunted by a ghost. So very wonderful purport is written there. Ignorant persons, they think that people who are engaged in Krishna consciousness, they are dull, they are mad. They are, because they are incompetent to do anything else. That's why they are doing all this bhajan and kirtan. Yadu is describing the qualities of Avadhut Brahmana, the most capable personality. But still he has taken to renounced order of life. People, who are foolish, they say, oh, why don't you get a job? I think you are of no use. That's why you are doing all this bhajan and kirtan. You are serving God. You are sincerely endeavoring, people say, those who are foolish, they say you are sincerely endeavoring for spiritual enlightenment. And but this enlightenment is nothing practical. It is all just imaginary. Nothing practical you are going to attain by all that. And therefore, these people, they are so foolish. They can't understand that, sometimes they are ready to spend millions of dollars to get few weeks and few months of life. But if they see something, oh, you are endeavoring for an eternal life, you are foolish. So that is a really, foolish thing which these materialistic people, they are doing. They condemn somebody who is endeavoring for eternal life, and just to increase their life, they are ready to pay millions of dollars. There is no actual logic in this. So therefore, Yadu Maharaj says, people in this world, actually they are burned because of lust, anger, greed, and all the anarthas. But I can see that you are not burned by lust. Although you are young, you are handsome, you are capable, but you are not affected by lust. Just like an elephant, when he is surrounded by a forest fire, he enters the water body, he is not troubled by forest fire. Similarly, although you are so very handsome, beautiful, eloquent, capable, young, but still you are not affected by the fire of lust. Davagnina sakal kamagnina sakal yonishu dahyamana. The lust is burning everybody. But you are not burnt by lust. O Brahmana, you are devoid of contact with anything material in this world. You are traveling alone. So please tell us about your great ecstasies. How you are so ecstatic, how you are so happy. Unless one is absorbed in Krishna, unless one is absorbed in Atma and Paramatma, it is so very difficult to be happy and ecstatic. It is so very difficult to take to the renounced order of life unless one experiences some happiness in the Atma and Paramatma. So therefore, Yadu is asking, what is the source of your ecstasy? Where does your bliss come from? You're so very blissful. What is the source of your bliss? I'm asking you directly because it is better to hear from a person who is actually doing it. So therefore, after this, Yadu, he waited. He very gratefully, respectfully, he folded his hands in front of this Avadhut Brahmana and he waited for that Brahmana to reply. When this Avadhut Brahmana, he saw such wonderful attitude of King Yadu, he became very much pleased. And therefore, he started speaking. So now Avadhut Brahmana, he is replying. He says, O king, with my intelligence, this word my intelligence is very important. Buddhi upashrita. With my intelligence, I have taken shelter of many gurus. So it means that all these gurus, they did not teach me, they did not speak to me. I just observed them and I learned from them. That is what this Avadhut Brahmana is saying. So therefore, having gained all this understanding from my gurus, now I wander on this earth free from all the sufferings. So therefore, then he says, O King Yadu, I have taken shelter of 22 gurus. I have learned from 24 gurus. Who are those 24 gurus? The earth, air, sky, water, fire, moon, sun, pigeon, python, the sea, the moth, honeybee, elephant, the honey thief, the deer, the fish, the prostitute Pingala, the Kurari bird, child, the young girl, the arrow maker, the serpent, the spider, and the wasp. These are my 24 gurus. I have learned lessons from all of them. So now please hear what I have learned from all these. I will explain to you. So now he starts the description. He says, from earth, I have learned tolerance. A sober person, even though he is harassed by people of the world, he should remain, sober, tolerating all the problems of this world. Because he should know that nothing happens without the will of the Lord. All the aggressors, they are under the control of God. And therefore, one should not be distracted by all the disturbances which are done by others. So therefore, earth, why earth? Because earth is a symbol of tolerance. What all is tolerated by Mother Earth? People, they are drilling all the wells, withdrawing all the oil, atomic explosion, the pollution, the air is polluted, the land is polluted, water is polluted, but still Mother Earth is silently, calmly tolerating it. That is the tolerance of Mother Earth. And then he said, I have learned from tree and the mountains, which are the part of Mother Earth only. From the mountains, I have learned selflessness. Mountains gives such wonderful jewels, minerals, and waterfalls are there on the mountains. They are completely selfless. And from trees, I have learned how to be engaged always in service of others. In the 10th canto also, when Krishna enters Vrindavan forest with all his cowherd friends, he is describing the glory of the trees of Vrindavan. Pashyaitan mahabhagan pararthaikant jivitan vatavarshat apihiman sahanto varayantinah. He says, oh friends, just see, Pashya, just see these most fortunate living entities. Generally, trees are considered to be a condemned species, cannot move, very low level of consciousness. But Krishna is saying they are Mahabhaga, they are most fortunate. Why? Parartha ekanta jivitan, they are just living for others. They don't complain. People come, and take so many things. They even cut trees. They don't complain. They tolerate. What all they are tolerating? Vat, Varsha, Tap and Himan. Intense cold, scorching summer, blazing, very strong wind, all these, and the icy cold season. Everything is tolerated by the trees. Very torrents of rain pour on trees. They all tolerate this. And they give so many things to everybody. What all things are given by trees? पत्र पुष्प फल छाया मूलवल्कल दारुभि गंध निर्यास भस्मास्ति तोक्मयी कामान वितन्वते. Patra, Pushpa, Phala, Chaya, Mool means the root, Valkal means the bark, Darubi, the wood, Gandha, the beautiful fragrance, Niryas, the sap which comes out. All these things are given by the trees. In return, they don't want anything. That's how one should learn selflessness and service to others from trees and mountains. That is the first guru of this Avadhut Brahmana. Who is the second guru of Avadhut Brahmana? The wind. So there are two types of wind. The internal prana, internal air, the air which flows in the body, and the external wind. He learned two things from these two types of air. From the internal air, he learned satisfaction. He says a sage should take his satisfaction, should draw his satisfaction from the life air. That means he should not hanker for sense gratification. He should be just satisfied with whatever is needed to take his life air and soul and body together. One should not care so much for the sense gratification, because he says if somebody gets absorbed in sense gratification, if somebody becomes dissatisfied, he cannot aspire for spiritual knowledge. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, Yukta ahar viharasya, Yukta cheshtasya karmasu, Yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. So, one should be regulated in his sleeping, eating, and recreation. So, these 24 gurus, so that is not just Hare Krishna. Sorry, there are some network problem, it seems. Yeah. So now this Avadhut Brahmana, he learned how to be satisfied by observing the prana vayu. A sage should be satisfied with the prana, whatever he is getting by not endeavoring much. That should be the mood of a devotee. He should be satisfied with whatever comes out of its own accord. We should not become absorbed in sense gratification. Focus on self-realization. One should not be too austere, and one should not be too much engrossed in sense gratification. Both are not conducive for self-realization. So therefore, a human being, an intelligent human being, should distinguish between what is Shreyas and what is Preyas. Shreyas means the long-term goal. Preyas means the short-term, sense gratification. So one should accept sense gratification in a regulated way, because Chakravarti Thakur writes a nice purport. He says that one should maintain the pranavayu by eating pure food, because if somebody eats an impure food, the prana gets disturbed. If the prana gets disturbed, then the mind gets disturbed, and when the mind is disturbed, the spiritual knowledge gets destroyed. So therefore, and there it is written that mind will become disturbed by eating contaminated food or impure food, and mind and speech will become agitated by eating too much of oily and fatty food, because it increases laziness and increases the lusty desires. That's what one should learn from the internal air. From the external air, one should learn detachment. How it is significant? He says that a yogi, he should be indifferent from of any good or bad quality, just like air. Although the air passes through so many of the objects, and may carry the aroma of so many different types of places, but air is itself a neutral entity. you know as Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says that air passes from different types of objects, uh, and I'm forgetting the verse, that vayur gandhan ivashaya, just air carries the aroma, air does not get contaminated. So therefore, just like air is not attached, a living entity who is endeavoring for perfection, endeavoring for spiritual life, he should not become attached to sense gratification. He should be very vigilant to control his senses. As Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yada samharate chayam kurmongani eva sarvashah indriyanindriyarthebhyas tasya pragya pratishtita. A transcendentalist should be like tortoise. When he is faced with some sense gratificatory objects, he should not try to explore them. Just withdraw all your senses, just like the tortoise withdraws the limbs when faced with danger. So therefore, a Krishna conscious person, he is not disturbed in any condition because he is focused. In this world of social media and the fast gadgets, it is so very difficult to be focused, where all the information is available at the fingertip. So we have to understand that the most important requirement for a transcendentalist is to be focused. Vyavasayatmika buddhi is so very important. Otherwise, this most wonderful opportunity which is given to us, it will be lost. So that's how a devotee fixes his mind on Krishna, and he's just not interested in anything of the world. He should be aware. He should not be active in that. So therefore, Avadhut Brahman says a self-realized soul, may live in different bodies, but the soul is not affected. Just like the air may pass through various places, carry the aroma, but air itself is not affected. So that's what one should learn from the wind. Then about his third guru, he says the sky is my third guru. What he has learned from sky, he says one should understand that just like the sky is completely aloof from everything, the Paramatma who is there in the heart of every living entity, he is aloof from all the activities of a living entity. As Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Upadrashta and Anumanta. Paramatma is a neutral observer and sanctioner. But that is not the case for a devotee. For a devotee, Paramatma is an active guide. So therefore, generally, Paramatma is aloof. He is not so much interested in whatever activities a living entity is doing. He's just observing those activities. He's not attached. And similarly, from the sky, just like sky is not attached, the soul is also untouched by the change of bodies. The soul may pass through various bodies, but the soul is not touched by any of the bodies. Soul is always transcendental. But because of the bodily conception, we start, accepting this body as ours. Ichha, dvesh, sukham, dukkham, sanghatas, chetana, dhriti. A living entity experiences ichha, dvesh, sukha and dukkha because he thinks this is my body. The soul is not going through any of the transformations. It is because of the bodily conception one thinks that I am suffering. This is what he learned from the third guru. And he says, and then Avadhut Brahman says that my fourth guru is water. Amazing, water which we see every day, drink, so many things can be learned from the uh, very, very common and easily available things of the nature. It requires a vision. A self-realized soul can draw very wonderful lessons from any ordinary thing which he may see. That is the difference between a pure devotee and an ordinary conditioned soul. So therefore, Avadhut Brahmani says, I have learned from water that saintly people, they are like water. Because what are the qualities of water? A pure water is free from all the contamination. Saintly person's heart is like a crystal clear water, free from all the contamination. Secondly, they are very, very gentle by nature. And just like, in the earlier times, Vedic times, the sages, they would like to meditate and build their huts near a water body, a flowing water body, because the sound of a waterfall is so very pleasing. It satisfies and soothes the mind. Similarly, when the saintly personalities, they speak, their beautiful sound vibration, it is like a flowing water. It gives such satisfaction and soothes the heart of a conditioned soul who is suffering and miserable in this material world. So then he says that actually just by seeing, just by hearing, just by touching great personalities, one can become free from all the sufferings of this material world. One can easily get purified. Another thing he says that just like water purifies a person, saintly personality purifies. Bhavad vidha bhagavatah tirtha bhuta swayam vibho tirthi kurvanti tirthani swantasthena gadabhrita. Yudhishthir Maharaj is telling to Vidura, because you have Krishna in your heart, you can purify the place of pilgrimage also. So therefore, the quality of sage, saintly personality is his purity, his friendliness, and his piety. And then he says, from fire I have learned few things. He says saintly personalities, they are always pure. Just like fire can never become contaminated, saintly personalities, they can never become contaminated. By mistake, sometime saintly personality accepts foodstuffs which is not uh, pure. But saintly personalities, they are so very powerful because of their austerities. They do not get affected even by accepting something which is impure. That is the quality of a saintly personality. He's like a fire. And then he says that very interesting line, it is written there in the purport. He says, one should eat palatable foodstuffs to maintain a cheerful mind. Naturally, if somebody does not get to eat good food, mind becomes disturbed. So one should eat palatable foodstuffs to maintain a cheerful mind, but one should not eat luxuriously. Otherwise, it increases the lusty desires. It increases the laziness. So therefore, one should never disrespect a advanced personality. Always serve him reverentially. And one should be very, very careful not to offend a personality. Just like if somebody carelessly approaches a fire, he'll be burnt. Similarly, if somebody does Vaishnava aparad, he will be burnt. He will lose all the inclination for spiritual life. And then he says, I have learned from fire one more thing. Just like, super soul, just like fire, sometimes reveals itself and sometimes remains hidden. Just like sometimes the fire is there under the ash, not so much visible. Sometimes it is blazing. Similarly, saintly personalities, sometimes they reveal their exalted position to help living entities in general, and otherwise they are not so much interested in telling about their knowledge. They like to be very humbly sitting at one corner and doing their bhajan. But just for the welfare of people in general, they go out and they share this knowledge. As a fire appears differently in different woods, similarly, the super soul enters in different bodies, but does not, get affected by it. So that is the lesson which he has learned from fire. And then he says, I have one more guru. The sixth guru of this Avadhut Brahmana is the moon. Just like the moon is not affected by the waxing and the waning, similarly, soul is not affected by, you know, entering in different bodies. The body may go through various changes, birth, growth, then stays for some time, then produces byproducts, and then dwindles and then dies. Soul is not affected by all these changes. Na jayate, na mriyate. And then one more lesson he draws from fire, So again he goes back, He already told about fire. Now he goes back. And again he tells one more quality. That is called, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes, this is called Simhavalokan. So this Avadhut Brahmana is very, very alert. As he is describing all this thing, he is looking back. Okay, ye bata diya, ye reh gaya, So he is going back and is telling, I have learned one more thing from fire. He says, the flames of the fire, they constantly change shapes. Similarly, the soul continuously changes body. And that's how, one should become renounced. Because one should understand that this change is the only permanent thing in this world. Only thing which is permanent is the change. So therefore, I should not be attached to all these changing world. That is what one has to learn from fire. And then he says, I have learned, my seventh guru is the sun. Just like the sun takes water and gives back the water, similarly, the saintly personalities, they take something which is given to them, and when somebody asks, they give them also. They give it back. They don't keep anything. They are not attached to anything. Just like sun evaporates water and gives back the water in the form of rain. So a Krishna conscious person, he never feels, oh, this belongs to me. No, everything belongs to Krishna. They follow the principle of yukta vairagya. They never do atyahar. So that is the quality of a sun. And another thing which he has learned from the sun is, just like the sun may reflect in various water bodies, but the sun remains the same. Similarly, the soul, although appears to be divided into, soul appears to travel into so many bodies, but the soul remains undivided. And one more thing which is described in the purport is we have to understand from sun that if the sky is covered with the clouds, one cannot see the sun. Similarly, if the mind is contaminated with lusty desires, with desires for sense gratification, one cannot see Paramatma. To realize Paramatma, one has to become free from all the contaminations. Pravishtakarnarandrena swanambhavasaroruham dhunoti shamalam Krishna salilasya yatha. How is that possible? By the process of hearing and chanting the names of the Lord, one can get purified of all the contaminations, and then one can actually perceive the soul, super soul, who is there in the heart. And then in this chapter, this is eighth guru. He says, I have learned from pigeon also. What I have learned from pigeon? He tells a beautiful story about a pigeon. He says, I have learned from pigeon that one should never indulge in excessive attachment or concern for anyone in this world or anything in this world. This is a very, very interesting story. Generally, it is a tendency that one becomes over attached or over concerned about something or someone in this world. So he's saying one should not be over excessive concerned about anyone in this world, because the attachments of this world, they lead to great suffering. It is said in Bhagavatam, Tavad ragadayastena yavat kara griham griham yavan mohongri nigdo yavan krishnan tejanaha. If somebody is not a devotee of the Lord, all the attachments, all the affections and concerns one has, they are like the chains. The home becomes the prison house, kara griha. The home becomes the kara griha, and the affection becomes the chains. If one is not a devotee, he'll be bound up in this prison of material world. So then he says the story about a pigeon. He says, I have learned from pigeon. Once there were two pigeons, the male and female. They were living in the forest and they built a very nice nest. And they were so very devoted to their household duties. Their hearts were completely tied by sentimental affection. They were completely attracted to each other by their bodily features, by their sweet words. They attracted each other. That's what is this material world all about. Dehapatya kalatradishu atmasainyashu asatsu api tesham pramatto nidhanam pashyanapi na pashyati. A living entity does not understand that death is coming. He becomes so very absorbed in materialistic life, absorbed in family, that he cannot see death coming. So these male and female, they could not even tolerate separation for a moment, and therefore they completely forgot about the Supreme Lord. Together they carried out the various activities of the household life. They were sitting together, resting together, walking together, standing, conversing, playing, everything they were doing together. In this way, they were completely absorbed. Whenever the pigeon, she desired something, she was so very expert. She would flatter and cajole her husband, and because of sweet words of her wife, this pigeon, he was ready to do anything to gratify her desires. So therefore, because he was so very he had no control over his senses, he completely became the pet of his wife. So there is one word which is used, tarpayanti. Tarpayanti means, it is written, the lady pigeon was such an expert in seducing her husband that by her smiling glances and by loving talks, she was, she was able to just attract her husband. And because the husband was Ajitendriya, he was always under the control of his wife. And therefore this female pigeon, when she was living in such a wonderful way, she experienced her first pregnancy, and in due course of time she gave birth. She laid some eggs. In due course of time, the eggs, they hatched, and beautiful small baby birds came out of that egg. Both the pigeons, male and female, they were so very attracted by the very sweet chirping of the baby birds. The similar thing is described by Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto. He also describes the condition of a materialistic householder. Katham priyaya anukampitaya sangam rahasyam ruchiram shamantran suritsu tatsneha sita shishunam kalaksharanam anurakta chittaha. Katham priyaya, how can a attached householder give up the attachment to his wife? The wife speaks such sweet words in solitary place to her husband, and when the children are born, the householder, he becomes so very absorbed hearing the broken language of the children. That is the condition of this pigeon. The chirping, the seeing the soft wings coming out, the attempts to jump and trying to speak something, and the small moments of the baby birds which they were having with the parents. Male and female, they were so very absorbed and they were so very happy seeing the children growing. Foolish birds, bewildered by the material energy, they were not understanding that, you know, the life can change any moment. They were taking care of the children very, very nicely. One day, both of the birds, they went in search of food. As they were away, that time a hunter came, spread its net, and captured all the baby birds. After spending some time in the forest and after collecting some food, those two birds, mother and father, they came back. When mother, she saw her children caught up in the net, she became so very disturbed. She started crying, lamenting, wailing, overwhelmed with lamentation and anguish. She rushed towards the child, the children, the baby birds. She did not even understand. She forgot that they were caught in the net. And she also fell in that net. She was also caught. When the male pigeon, he saw this scenario, he began to lament. He said, "Oh, now I am dead. I am destroyed. I am such a great fool. I did not properly execute my duties. And I have not satisfied myself also. I wanted to satisfy, enjoy sense gratification, but I could not do so." In fact, that is the nature of this material world. However much you try to enjoy, the senses can never be satisfied. And the foremost example is Hiranyakashipu. He was supreme proprietor of this universe. Apart from Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, he had everything under his control. But still, he was ajitendriya, so therefore he was not satisfied. Atripyat. So this pigeon, he's crying, "My dear family, which was the source of my dharma, artha, kama, it is all ruined now. How will I survive?" People in this world, they call, it is written in the purport, home sweet home, and they store some money for future. They call nest egg, but they don't understand. They don't, realize that with the force of time, everything will be taken away. So this pigeon, he's lamenting, says, my wife and I were such perfect ideal match. She was faithful and she was very suitable for me. She was ready to do anything for me, but now she has left me behind, and now, she has gone to heavens along with the children. Oh, I am so wretched. Now my wife is dead, my children is dead. What is the purpose of my life? Now everything is finished. As he was lamenting, because now the children and the wife were still alive, but he understood now they are going to die. So he was seeing his little children just struggling to come out of the net, the wife nearly fainting out of pain. In this condition, he himself fell in that net. And therefore, the cruel hunter, what he did, he just wound up that net and set off for his home. That is the result of excessive attachment. Evam kutumbena ashanatmatma ashantatma dvandva rama patatrivat pushnan kutumbam kripanaha sanubandho vasidati. In this way, one who is so very attached to family life, dvandva rama patatrivat, like pigeon, he becomes so very attached to pleasure of this material world, but the result is they become so very caught up in the materialistic life, they don't understand death is approaching, and therefore they suffer so much. Yah prapya manusham lokam mukti dwaram apavritam griheshu khagavat saktah tamarudhachutam vidu. In this human form of life, one can attain liberation. The highest perfection can be achieved in this human form of life, but if somebody is attached to family life, griheshu khagavat saktah, like this pigeon, if somebody is attached to family life, what is the result? It is just like somebody climbs a mountain and then again falls down. So that is the end of this 7th chapter. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If anybody has any questions, you can please ask, or we'll stop here. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Next session will be Monday, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Ah, yes, Monday. Next session, Monday.
Monday.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, just one question. So
Yes,
from
yes.
this fourth point, this Uddhav Gita is started, Prabhuji?
Sorry?
The Uddhav Gita is started from this chapter only, from the half of this chapter?
Yes. From the beginning, this chapter, from
Yes.
7 to 29, that is called Uddhav Gita, and from 13th verse onwards, actually, the questions were asked by Uddhava. So that is where it is.
Okay, so the Uddhav Gita has started now, no?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. 1 to 13.